How we doing, gang? How we doing? How we living? How we feeling? How's your Monday morning? Well, if you're living in my shoes, mixed bag. Mixed bag. Mixed bag. Normally I come in here blazing hot sunshine, but I don't know. I don't know. Sick over the weekend. For those of you who watched the Friday stream, oh boy, sick over the weekend. Thought I was going to be able to power through it. Wasn't able to power through it. Had to take a little bit of a step back. Just sort of rolled around in bed on Saturday. Nearly exclusively watching reaction videos to the Kendrick Lamar Drake beef. Almost exclusively. And playing AI songs. I made up a bunch of AI songs. I've really become fascinated with the idea of making like 1950s crooner standards, but with science fiction and horror themes. So nothing like really ghoulish, but just like, you know, a song. No, I'll play it. Here we go. Let's just play my song. This is a song about a haunted mirror. And then I figured, could I make like mountain goats songs? All right, here we go. Yeah, that's published. Here. All right, let's this is a song I made while I was sick on Saturday.
See the rates rising.
Oh, no. Echoes in the Glass. There we go. Which is the one published.
I once purchased a mirror from an old world crone. Never once thinking it would be haunted. Oh, what have I done? Reflections strange. Glass keeps showing. Tales gone by, haunts me with a ghost's embrace. But in this frame, my darling shades, I sense their gaze. It's hard to see, but in the mirror they recall memories. Madness creeping from behind my eyes. I smashed the mirror, but to my surprise, 'twas I who lay shattered, as the ghost was now free.
It was a weird weekend, man. It was a weird weekend. I'm not gonna lie. It was a weird weekend. I then tried to make a Mountain Goat style song about the Iran hostage crisis. I made a Miami bass song about fucked up shoes. Here we go. This is Anyway, all right. So yeah, what do we want to talk about? Henry Cuellar got indicted. The Republicans are going to try and George Santos'd ass because they kicked a dude out who was indicted. So turnabout's fair play. When does Henry Cuellar get kicked out? Yeah, Katy Perry reference in the in the PX3 Extra today. You're hot and you're cold. You're in, then you're out. You're up and you're down. Do you guys want me to talk about the Kendrick Lamar Drake beef? Because I can talk about it for as long as I can talk about politics. Let me do one politics thing, and then we can talk about whatever we want, up to and including the rap thing. So, Joe Biden, I'm willing to say that I was right on the when Donald Trump is on trial, he is more popular. When he is in legal peril, he is more popular. I think we've seen it. Biden was doing very well in the polls. Donald Trump goes on trial. All of a sudden, now he gets to do these Jay Leno headlines monologues out in front of the courtroom. He did it today. He brought a stack of papers and just everybody watches it because it's novel. He's staying on message. He's mostly talking about shit that is good for his campaign. And at the end of the day, people who are just kind of tuning into this are like, wait, why is he on trial? For what? Didn't we talk about the Stormy Daniels thing like 2 years ago? Oh, we're doing it again? Why? Trump, and then he's doing stuff that like the president normally does. The president normally goes to big events and everybody goes, oh, look, the president's here. It's a bigger event. I don't know. We can take a look. A poll came out, which was not terrible for Biden, but let's take a look at it real quick. Okay, here we have some good news for Biden. Let's take a look. These are new. IITIPP poll, Biden up 2, head-to-head, Biden up 1, going 5 wide. This was the ABC News poll. And it wasn't the top line that was interesting to me. They broke it down on the Sunday shows yesterday. And Joe Biden is upside down with people under 30 in this poll. He is getting savaged in some of the core elements of the Democratic Party, which if those numbers are true, I don't think that there's a way he can win. You might be able to say that he could win the popular vote, but he's not going to win the Electoral College. Because he's like, compared to 2020, down like 20% with black voters. He's damn near at parity with Hispanic voters, and he's underwater with young voters. Apparently, Donald Trump is indeed a no-cap Rizzler. So we've had a little bit of a better stretch for Biden here in the last week. Donald Trump's still up in the aggregate. But Maybe the strategy is to cause enough confusion that people stop caring or looking. Oh, I mean, the hope usually with a political campaign is to find an issue that people find so compelling that they want to go support you. That can be many issues, but there's usually some that are more popular than others. You try to alienate your opponent's base. You try to galvanize your base. Everybody all goes to the polls. Whoever hits the button more becomes the leader of the free world. It's a part of the absolute awesome, big, fat, hairy democracy. We live our democracy a quarter mile at a time. First past the post. We race for pinks here in America. The greatest democratic drag race the world has ever known. But that's how you win. That's how you do it. I sincerely hope Biden's team keeps their eyes on the Electoral College. Well, I certainly hope so too, for their sake. Like, what the hell else are you doing? What the hell else are you doing? All right. Drake and Kendrick Lamar. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it because this is not why you come here. You don't come here because I am fascinated by the Drake and Kendrick Lamar feud. You come here to listen to me talk about politics. I'll talk about politics. Whatever political questions you guys have, go ahead in there. All I'll say is this. This has been one of the most fun and fascinating rap battles for this very specific reason. I mentioned at the beginning of it, I forget to who, that it was fascinating to see that the way people would try to publicly shame each other, which is what a rap battle is, has kind of changed. So in the 90s, 2000s, you're talking Biggie and Tupac, Jay-Z and Nas, and even into the 2000s, you're the myriad 50 Cent beefs and stuff like that. There's a lot of you're inauthentic and I've had sex with your woman. Those are like the power punches. Those are the things that you said if you really wanted to disrespect somebody. Famously, the Jay-Z and Nas beef had to be ended when Jay-Z said that he left condom wrappers after having sex with Nas's baby's mother in their child's car seat. What was fascinating about the beginning of this Drake and Kendrick beef is that they were talking about how bad their record contracts were. It was about money. You've made a dumb financial decision, good sir. Fiduciarily, you have been graded poor. Ah, from my private jet, I see that your private jet is lacking. Rich guy stuff. Thought that was interesting. Thought it was a mile marker for hip hop, for rap, for the culture, capital T, capital C. But then something interesting happened. The beef turned on morality. Morality. Now think about what happened before. Oh, you are inauthentic. I have had sex with your woman. I am real. I am virile. That is the undercurrent, right? That is, that's like Viking stuff. Morality is kind of a Western idea. It is a gentleman's idea. It's like this 1950s steaming cup of joe idea. And Kendrick destroys Drake on being a bad person and not being in touch with his kids. The most devastating of the songs is called Meet the Grams, in which Kendrick Lamar directly gives life advice to Drake's son, who he has a spotty relationship with, and there's lore behind that. And then chastises Drake's mother and father for being poor parents. And then there's a whole nother thing about how Drake's a pedophile. And how Drake likes having sex with underage girls. And that's where things kind of took another step forward. He did that one primarily on a very West Coast DJ Mustard, beats you can crip walk to kind of beat. But it's been fascinating. I've really liked it. Yeah, Standard & Poor's has downloaded their recommendation on you. I mean, like, honestly, the actual lyrics back and forth were about their splits. So splits are basically how much you get paid from your own record, how much you get paid from your own contract. And they were like bad-mouthing each other on, hey, you don't get paid enough. I did say DJ Mustard. Mustard on the beat, ho. These are pretty much all on YouTube. I think that they all put them up on YouTube. But in order, if you wanted to take the sonic journey, you could, the song that started this beef is Like That. That is on a Future and Metro Boomin album where Kendrick Lamar is the feature. But Kendrick Lamar takes some shots at Drake and J. Cole. Then Drake came back with, what was the first one? The second one was Tailor Made Freestyle. Kendrick comes back with Euphoria and 616 in LA. And then this was the fascinating thing that kept me glued to my phone all Saturday was that Friday night, Drake releases a song called Family Matters. And everyone's like, wow, what a great Drake diss record. Oh my God, it was so amazing. He said that Kendrick's son isn't even his own and that he beat up his wife. And oh, this is so crazy. And then 30 minutes later, Kendrick Lamar drops a response to that. That is Meet the Grams, and it's just devastating. Just maybe one of the best diss tracks ever. It's got to be on Mount Rushmore. But that's the kind of thing that never happens. Normally it's like a song comes out, there's a week, 2 weeks, another song comes out. Oh, Push-Ups, yeah. It was Push-Ups, then Tailor Made Freestyle, then Euphoria, 616 in LA. Drake comes back with Family Matters, and then Kendrick hits him first with Meet the Grams right afterward. Bop, bop. And then the next day hits him with this club banger called They Not Like Us, for which the album art is Drake's actual house with 7 sex offender icons inside of it, like you were looking at it on the Citizen app. When will they get AI to auto-generate diss tracks? No, that's been another fascinating side part of that, is that every time that somebody did a thing, there would be AI versions of it. Drake did come back last night, released, I think, the weakest of the diss tracks, because he doesn't want to be in it. He doesn't want to be in it. His answer was, oh, I don't really have an 11-year-old daughter. I gave you false information. Aren't I smart? I did not really shit my pants. I allowed you to believe that I shit my pants and then make me shitting my pants the number one story in entertainment. Ha ha ha. Don't you feel stupid? I don't believe that Drake fed him that information. Come on. If he fed him that information, we would have known about it on Instagram Live the second that Meet the Grams hit. Number two, what's more likely? If we're going to call Occam and ask him to bring his razor over, what's more likely? A guy who's been publicly busted for having illegitimate kids had another illegitimate kid that we didn't know about, or he's the Riddler? I mean, I think Occam knows. Occam knows. He knows which way the razor's going to cut. It was me the entire time who leaked the worst information about myself. I let you believe I was a pedophile. Anyway, it's great stuff. And the songs are good. I've actually really enjoyed pretty much all the songs. All the songs. I just think it's sad with Drake now. It's just sad. It's sad. I think he's a very consummate pop artist, but I think it's time, get back on IG, post some Aperol spritz shots, do some crypto gambling, Drake things. The only thing that matters is will Atlanta stop allowing Drake to colonize? There was some funny stuff there. Oh my God. I mean, and that stuff where it's like you get into, I'm comfortable discussing my POV on what I think culturally, small c, culturally is fascinating about this. I do think it's fascinating that the winning play in this beef is not, I'll kill you, I will have sex with people that you love, I have more money than you. Traditional currency in this realm, it is, I'm a better father, and that matters. I care about the family unit, and you don't. You are a Philistine. I am a cornerstone for civilization. I feel bad for your kids because you're a bad father. That is something to which I can't remember very rarely are beefs this big, but like, I can't remember that being the thing. Now, there's a whole nother realm for which, we're already stretching my credibility on any of this. But I will not dare my credibility to be stretched into the capital T, capital C, the culture conversation. Because that gets into a lot of racial politics about how black is black and whether or not you are acting black, if you are biracial, do you have to pick a cultural experience? Plenty of people online that will talk about all that. So I would encourage you to go find them. The social pendulum is swinging from I'm running out for SIGs to I'm there for every Little League game. I mean, let me just talk to the conservatives here. Let me talk to the conservatives. Take the win. Take the win. The biggest cultural stories in entertainment, the candy aisle of our world, right, have been Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce getting together, winning the Super Bowl. The model for the smoking and joking playboy and the drama queen find true happiness together as just a boring couple that gets together, pushes each other to be better, and one of them has the biggest tour of all time, the biggest album of all time, and the other wins the Super Bowl. I said this before. Take the win, conservatives. And now, the biggest rap beef centers around who's a better parent. Traditional family is winning. Winning. Conservatives, take the win. Take the win. You know, there was a point in time where George H.W. Bush once said, we need more of, oh, God damn it, I need to get, what was it? The Waltons. We need more of the Waltons and less of the Simpsons. The coolest things that are happening, the most popular cool things that are happening are about finding love together in the most American way possible and a gigantic Canadian being shamed for being too much of a hedonist. You have let your lifestyle, you have let your pill popping, your gambling, your drinking get in the way of what matters the most. Your ability to be a good father and teach your son good moral things. Kendrick Lamar criticizes Drake for not teaching his child how to pray. You don't know nothing about that. Like, I don't know. It seems like a conservative cultural win to me. But the conservatives won't do anything about it because half of them don't listen. And, you know. Meanwhile, ceasefire deal was made and Israel was like, no, we don't want the hostages back because we have a reason to bomb Gaza. Where did you see that a ceasefire deal was made? I didn't see that. Where did you see that? And Hamas launched rockets yesterday. That's where I saw the peace deal fell apart, was that Hamas launched rockets. I don't know. I might be missing something, though. I've been mostly paying attention to Drake and Kendrick Lamar, so.
A verbo is for sharing all.
All right, enough of that. Oh, I did get the quote right. Here we go, though. Gosh dang it. Here we are. Here we go.
Let me tell you something. We are going to keep on trying to strengthen the American family to make American families a lot more like the Waltons and a lot less like the Simpsons.
I think H.W. Bush eventually was on The Simpsons, right? Yeah. So eventually he softened. There was a point where The Simpsons were like, that was like a big thing. I remember my mom would not let me watch The Simpsons unless she watched an episode with me. And she was like, oh, it's fine. It's a cartoon. It's okay. We were fired up about that. You don't know nothing about that. The Gerald Ford cameo was amazing. Do you like beer, Homer? I also like beer. I swear, man, I got to figure out a way to click links easier in Restream. It is a pain in the patoot. Hamas says latest ceasefire talks have ended. Israel vows military operation in the near future. This from yesterday afternoon. The latest round of Gaza ceasefire talks ended in Cairo after in-depth and serious discussions, the Hamas militant group said Sunday, reiterating key demands that Israel again rejected. After earlier signs of progress, the outlook appeared to dim as Benjamin Netanyahu vowed to resist international pressure to halt the war. Defense Minister Yoav Gallant claimed Hamas wasn't serious about a deal and warned a powerful operation in the near future in Rafah and other places across all of Gaza. After Hamas attacked Israel's main crossing point for delivering badly needed humanitarian aid, killing 3 soldiers. Israel's military said it believed Hamas was targeting soldiers massed on the Gaza border in preparation for a possible Rafah invasion. Hamas said it targeted soldiers. Israeli media reported that CIA Chief William Burns, the main mediator in the talks, would meet with Netanyahu on Monday. An official familiar with the matter told the Associated Press that Burns was traveling to meet the Prime Minister of Qatar, which, along with Egypt, has said to been an intermediary dealing with Hamas. It was not clear whether the subsequent trip to Israel had been that had been planned would happen. The official spoke on condition of anonymity to discuss the closed-door negotiations. Israel didn't send a delegation to the latest talks. Egyptian state media reported that the Hamas delegation went for discussions in Qatar, where the group has a political office, and will return to Cairo for further negotiations on Tuesday. And then we go into them banning Al Jazeera in Israel, but not in the West Bank or Gaza, which I don't even know how you do that. I mean, I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't missing anything. Hamas is not, well, Hamas is actively seeking a ceasefire, as in an end to the war. Hamas wants to say, we're done with the war now. And in exchange for us being done with, for you declaring that the war is over, we will release whatever hostages are still alive. That's a non-starter unless it was going to come with Hamas's leadership turning themselves into the Israelis. If anybody else has a different read on it, please feel free to put it in the chat. But this is, at the bare minimum, is going to end with Yahweh Sinwar either dead or in jail. That's the Israeli perspective. You know, it's another thing about, like, you know, there's a lot of protests in Israel about bringing the hostages home, and at least the last that I read reports of it, what Secretary of State of the United States of America, Antony Blinken, said was a very generous offer that was not executed on by Hamas, was the release of, I believe, 500 prisoners from Israel in exchange for the remaining hostages. But even the people that want, in Israel, even the protesters that want hostages home, by and large, do not tie it to an end of the war right now. They want hostages home. They are willing for Israel to pay a, larger price for it. But they also want Sinwar dead. They also want Hamas dismantled. And then there's the question of exactly which hostages there were. And then there's the question of exactly how many hostages does Hamas have to give back? Because you got a lot of them that are dead. A lot of them have died. That's my read on it. And I'm always open to somebody else's to more information, but that's at least the way that I have followed it. Hamas asking for it. I mean, I think that it would actually help to define ceasefire, because you can say the same thing and it can not mean the same thing. Hamas says ceasefire and they want the war's over. Congratulations, Israel. You did what you could. You couldn't kill our leadership. We survive. The world hates you. Here's your prisoners back. Hamas continues to run Gaza. That's what they would like. And if I were them, I'd like that too, because it's a lot better than the other side of it, which is the IDF going into Rafah and laying waste to whatever's there. As far as I know, the left-wing flank of Israeli politics want for there to be a ceasefire, hostages to come home, and then to restart the prosecution against Hamas. The American left is more the full ceasefire. Israel should just stop being in Gaza altogether. Trump has been fined another $1,000 for violating the gag order, and the judge says that if he violates it again, he might send him to jail. The judge did mention it the last time, but this was another fine, and so he has mentioned it again. Would he really do it? I don't know, man. I don't know what this judge would do. It's an extraordinarily weird case, dude. It's an extraordinarily weird case. They had one of Trump's old personal assistants, Hope Hicks, testify for the prosecution, but she might have led the defense to their best version of an argument, because she talked about how much Trump cared about shielding his wife from the information, which doesn't make it an election crime. It just makes him a philanderer who would like to not have his dirty deeds be spelled out in the press and embarrass his wife. But again, we're so down the rabbit hole with this. Taylor Swift wrote an anthem for Florida. I haven't listened to it yet. He could have continued paying these women off to keep the knowledge away from Melania, but after being elected, didn't really worry about it too much. Well, I don't know if you remember the world in which existed after Donald Trump won the presidency, but things were a little crazy. Things were a little crazy. It wasn't just the normal. People were like freaking out over the Rogue Forestry Division Twitter like it was Deep Throat come to life. It was like, oh, we're having a women's march to support like abortion rights. Nope. Do you support women? I guess I do. Here's your pussy hat. I got to wear a silly hat. It's not silly unless you hate women. I guess I don't hate women. Yeah, give me the hat. I like how shortening Biden's speaking times is being framed as quality over quantity. I have begun research in earnest for 1968 because there's a lot of 1968 discourse, and I'll just say this. For anybody who says that 1968 is 2024, you're wrong. 1968 is not 2024. The Vietnam War is not the war in Gaza or the war in Ukraine. Joe Biden is not LBJ. The Chicago convention will probably not be the Chicago convention of 1968. This time, I'm pretty sure RFK Jr. will survive. That being said, 2024 is very much in our modern tradition a cynical, decades late reboot of 1968. This is The Force Awakens of 1968, where all of the characters have knowledge of the previous story, but it's shoddily written so we remember it. It's all front and center, maybe a little bit too much. You're like, oh, I guess that's the new Han Solo and that's the new Luke Skywalker. And yeah, that's what this is. All the pieces are there. They are meant to resemble each other. You know, it's like poetry. It rhymes. But I do think that there are some startling, interesting themes that I will look forward to exploring more. The thing that kind of struck me the most in doing more research on Vietnam, because one of the first things that I always say about Vietnam not being any of our modern wars, and this is, I think, the undisputed biggest part, is Americans are not being drafted, let alone sent across the world to fight and die. And that's true. But you do have a democratic government that is very, 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 very interested in the public relations of how one front of a war is going. That's where LBJ found himself in 1968 on Vietnam. It's where Joe Biden finds himself in 2024 with Ukraine. And you also have a lot of people dying in both the Ukrainian front and in Gaza. But it got me thinking. Who is our neighbor in an internet world? Who are we more connected to? Somebody that agrees with our political opinions across the world, or somebody that lives next door in another town, in another state? Our humanity stretches in very strange string cheese ways these days. And so I don't find particularly crazy the idea that college students watching death and destruction in Gaza hits them emotionally in the same way that people that were watching Walter Cronkite narrate war footage from Vietnam would hit somebody. Now, there's a whole lot under the surface there, up to and including how easily things are manipulated. If anything, the book that I'm reading right now, 1968 by let's see, who was there? 1968 by Mark Kurlansky. 1968, the year that rocked the world. A huge part of that is media manipulation in earnest and smart ways by protest movements, by the civil rights movement, understanding how to get in front of cameras and bringing your message in the most compelling, telegenic way possible to the masses. All right. All right, I'm going to wrap it up here because I want to save my voice a little bit. I got an interview at the top of the hour. That's it for us right now. Thank you very much. We will be back. Interview with the head of the Free State Project. And then somebody else. I got to find